YouTube. Country CEO back in the house again. Man, look, one of you guys asked a question or requested that I do a video on engines, and I thought that was a pretty good idea. And so I am, excuse that shakiness, going to talk about engines, right? Because one of you guys wanted to know. And I think we've talked about them a little bit in the past at the beginning of this channel. But that's been a while ago, right? I started in October. Here it is. This video is being recorded in July. You probably won't see it till August sometime. All right, so look. Engines. What are the different types of engines? You know, I'll give my experience on dealing with most of the group that I'm going to talk about today. I've dealt with four or five, almost all that I'm going to talk about today, and so I can tell you from experience how they treated me and what's been the reputation of them in my 21 years and what guys told me who've been in a year longer than me about certain types of engines, right? All right, so obviously, first one off the bat has to be the cat, the kitty cat, right? Everybody talks about a cat and its power and its performance and all of that good stuff. Guess what? I have no rebuttal to that. I totally agree. Cat is a wonderful engine, plenty of power. I had two trucks with cats in them, 2 or 3 trucks with cats in them. All right, and wonderful performance. All right, only a thing I can say about a cat, you know, you just be careful with what horsepower you're gonna get, because I do know guys that would had that 460 and 500 fuel burners, right? And so we found that 425 cat even had a truck. I had a truck with a 300 cat in it, plenty of power to do what it needed to do for a dump truck. I'm telling you. All right, what you got to understand is not all, just the engine alone that gives you the power, but it's the engine, the transmission, the combination of that rear gear ratio in your rear end that gives you the power for a dump truck. And again, I just don't see any reason for a dump truck to be running 80 miles per hour. So I'm not real big on speed for a dump truck, right? All right, so cat, only thing I say about a cat to you is that beware. You know, cats are more expensive to overhaul. Even when most other engines was 10 and 11,000 overhaul, everybody would always say a cat was $20,000 overhaul. Now, I'm quite sure you can go to aftermarket places and get some parts and stuff. You probably could get it done 16,000. All right, but a lot of people don't want to use aftermarket parts in, you know, something like a cat. They want to go back with all original. So you have to figure that out, but that's something to consider when dealing with a cat. All right, secondly, the Cummins. I am a big fan of a Cummins, the road truck conversion. My first truck that I bought had an N14 350 Cummins, and I'm here to tell you that engine performed well. I bought the truck with 600,000 on that engine. I put 200,000 on that engine in 4 years. I sold the truck to a young man who's still running the truck with that same engine. When I had it, all I replaced was 2 injectors. I think last talk with him, he replaced a couple of injectors and a few more things, obviously with normal maintenance. But I'm here to tell you, he's over a million miles. Yeah, I love a Cummins. I'm just here to tell you, great engine. Ain't gonna cost you an arm and a leg to overhaul, $12, $13, $14,000, right? All right. All right, Detroit diesel. All right, have not personally had a Detroit, but had buddies that had Detroits. Spoke well of Detroit. Fuel mileage excellent. Just like anything else, it has its positive and negatives. I've heard guys say about certain leaks and certain things, particularly the Detroits, that happen to them after so long that you have to deal with, but nothing detrimental, nothing major. Just certain things you have to do to a Detroit. All right. But I know that a common thing I've heard, there are certain leaks that come from certain places after so many miles on Detroit that you have to get done. But overall, good engine, right? All right, Mack is making their own engines now, right? All right, well, they've been making their own engines, but now there's this new version now, MP7, which is what I have in both of my trucks, and now the MP8 is out, and no problem, it's performing well. I can't say anything about it. Overhaul 14, 15,000. You just do your bottom end when it's time. You do your top end when it's time. You get those valves adjusted when it's time. Mack is performing well. Okay, and I think this is a full. One has a 405, one has a 455, and they do well. Okay, no issues at all. All right. So Packard is making their own engines. That's the one that I don't have any experience with, so I can't tell you much about a Packard. Packard owns Kenworth and Peterbilt, and so just like everybody else, they're starting to make their own engines to put in their own trucks, and so I have not heard anything negative. I ain't heard nothing positive. I basically haven't heard anything. So I can't tell you much about a Packard, but since this video is about the different types of engines, I just wanted to mention that, right? And then finally, the Mercedes. I saved this one for last because this is the one that I did have a problem out of. I bought a Sterling several years ago and it had a Mercedes engine in it. Did okay at the beginning, but then I started having problems, diesel leaks, steel lines with, you know, getting holes in them, and then ultimately something going on with the way that breather setup that goes into the engine sucked dust into my engine, and I had to get that Mercedes overhauled to the tune of $18,000. If that wasn't enough, 6 months later, the same thing happened to me again, to that same engine. So another $18,000. Well, that time, that was it, right? I called my Mack dealer and said, hey, man, I got to get out of this truck. Help me get out of this truck. And he was able to help me to sell that truck. All right, $36,000 in overhauls fooling with that Mercedes because of some kind of jacked up setup between the breather and how it goes into the engine that allowed dust to be sucked into the engine. Here's how we know it's a bad design. That didn't just happen to me. I've identified at that time about 2 or 3 more Sterling owners with the Mercedes that it happened to. It seems to only happen to the Sterling owners with Mercedes. Not all, but several guys, right? So after that, that put a bad taste in my mouth as relates to a Mercedes engine. I like a Mercedes car, but I just don't like a Mercedes engine. Not no dump truck, right? All right, not no diesel engine, okay? All right, so that was my experience. All right, so look, that's it. That's the game. Share this video, like this video, set your notification bell, subscribe to this channel. We got more game like this all day long, right? We out of here.